Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. As you notice, the peach fuzz on my face is still going strong. I decided I'm gonna let it go for 1 month, even though I repulse myself every time I look in the mirror. So many of you guys commented and said, you just gotta be patient. You won't know till 1, 2, 3 months whether you can grow a beard. You got plenty for a beard. And I've decided I don't have plenty for a beard. Like, I might be able to grow a pathetic one, but not one I'm proud of. But I am gonna let it go for 1 month, so you don't have to deal with this for much longer, because I think I'm about 2 weeks in now. You probably don't care about any of that. You care about bulletproof vests and panels and stuff like that if you click this video. So I was always curious, will Level IIIA panel stop a 50 cal Desert Eagle? Because they're only rated to 44 Magnum. I was also always curious if it would stop a 300 Blackout Subsonic. Obviously it won't stop a supersonic round, but I was always curious if it would stop a subsonic round. So we'll find out today, so stay tuned for that. The format of this video, I'm going to talk about kind of bulletproof armor, if you're unfamiliar with it, just briefly. Then we're going to get into some clips of shooting so you can see I actually shot it, but that stuff's kind of boring for me because it's just people shooting at a panel, but we're going to show it anyway, so you know I don't fake it or whatever. I have no reason to. And then at the end, we're going to kind of break down the results and explain them for you if you're kind of curious why what happened the way it did, and if you're impressed or if whatever. We're going to talk about that at the end. So that's kind of the format. I'll put timestamps as they're relevant down here. So let's talk about body armor in general. So the good guys over at Premier have taken care of me on the channel so far. They give me a discount code for you guys also. So LLOD, those 4 letters will save you 10% off of anything at premierbodyarmor.com. So this is a weird shaped panel, right? And it's a cool color. This is like a coyote. They call it FD, but it's like a coyote brown. This is a 3A panel. So the main panels you're going to hear about are 3A, which means it stops bullet, pistol calibers up to like 44 Magnum. Then you're going to get up to 3, and that stops some rifle rounds, and you're going to get up to 4, and that stops even more rifle rounds. So 3A is typically what people are putting in their backpacks because they're light, they're thin. This is like, I think it's a 1.5 pounds and like a 1/4 of an inch thin or something like that. These ones by Premier are wrapped in Cordura as well. So inside of here is kind of your traditional panel that you see a lot of companies making, and they do one extra step and wrap it in Cordura. So that way if you're putting it in and out of bags and it falls on the ground and all kinds of stuff, it's going to wear much better, i.e. it's not going to wear out as fast. So you got a little bit of extra protection with the Cordura. So 3A, so there are some standards out there. They're basically, they can stop a bullet. I think it's like 6 rounds spaced apart, and that's kind of like how they do the testing. In today's video, I push it way beyond those limits, shooting it with calibers that are beyond what it's rated to stop. And then I pump way more lead into it than they're rated to stop as well. So I do, spoiler alert, I push this panel past the point of failure. It doesn't fail prematurely. It does everything it's supposed to do, and then I push it beyond that. So that's what's to come, if you're wondering. Bulletproof panel tests are kind of boring for me, because when I watch them, people just shoot them with what they're rated at, and they handle what they're rated at, and that's to be expected, because you'd get into big trouble if you falsely advertised the ratings of this. So I pushed it beyond because I was curious, and that's that. So this panel is kind of weird shaped because these panels are designed specifically to go into Vertex bags. So they're a little taller than a normal panel, so that way you get the full footprint covering of the bag. If you watch my videos, I just put out a video on the Commuter Sling, which they've just released in new colors. So the Vertex Commuter Sling, which is a cool bag for carrying a gun in, basically, and also a cool bag for putting armor in. Vertex, if you're wondering, gives me a coupon code as well, LLOD. Those 4 letters again save you 25% off of anything at vertex.com. Anyway, so Premier makes panels that fit various Vertex bags, even on down to this little guy, the Transit Sling, which, if you're wondering about the Transit Sling, because I was kind of curious because this is new to me, I was like, I wonder what it will fit. The Transit Sling fits my Angstat folder 9mm, if you're wondering. And they have a panel for that. So if you're looking for like the most ultra really cool compact panel, the Transit's sweet. I really like the Commuter as well. And then my EDC bag is of course the Gamut. Here it is in the new heather gray color. This is my personal fave, though I wish, I do like the leather accent, the brown leather accents on some of the other ones, but this, I love this heather gray the most. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know because those are all new. The Vertex Summer Colors bags are out right now because people were out. I've got hundreds of comments probably, people asking me when the new colors come out because I got an early release of one of their colors. So yeah, those are out. Whew. Okay, so that was a lot of backstory to kind of get to the meat of the video. So yeah, I mean, if you watch this, you're probably kind of interested in that. Guns I shot basically were Glock 19. Oh, actually, I didn't even shoot the 19. I shot my CZ P10C, I believe. I shot the Agent 9mm. That was for the 9mm stuff. I shot my friend's Glock 10mm. Then I shot this. This is the Magnum Research Desert Eagle L6. It's a little bit lighter, has these integrated ports here, like a muzzle brake, sorta. And that's 50 AE. I shot very hot 50 AE. Let me grab it real quick. So the 50 caliber Action Express I shot is a 300 grain bullet. And it's traveling pretty quick also. It's not just like a slow, fat bullet. It's a fat, pretty fast bullet. So these are coming, they're stated to have a muzzle FPS of 1475, which is pretty insane. So here is a 9mm. This is a Federal HST 147 grain. This is my preferred carry load in my carry gun, a Glock 19. And this is a 50 caliber, 300 grain versus 147 grain. So just over twice as heavy a bullet and big. So big and fast, most powerful handgun round. There's kind of a couple in the 50 range that are kind of pretty on par, but we'll just say 50A is pretty much the most powerful handgun round you can get. So we shot it with that. And then, like I mentioned earlier, here's my Radical Arms build. This is my new truck gun. They sent it out to me. Those guys are cool over there. They even put my logo on it. You may have seen this if you follow my Instagram. And so this is an 8.5 inch 300 Blackout. I shot the panel with subsonic rounds. So subsonic, if you don't know, 300 Blackout shoots 220 grain, 208 grain, 190 something grain. They have some subsonic, various subsonic loads. So they have about the energy of a 45. The advantage is 300 Blackout's a round that's designed to be fired out of a shorter barrel. So it has a full burn in like an 8-inch barrel, I think. So it works really well with short-barreled guns. Like this is a short-barreled pistol. It'll work well with short-barreled rifles as well. And another strength is that it suppresses well. So you put in a subsonic round that still does quite a bit of damage, not nearly as much as the supersonic loads you put in there. But a subsonic load, you have a nice short package with, you can add a suppressor on it, and it's a very quiet, lightweight, short. So 300 Blackout's a beautiful round for that. So I was curious about the subsonic. Supersonic, on the other hand, is a lighter, faster moving bullet, usually like 147 grain in that range, and traveling much faster. And just as a preface, speed is typically what penetrates body armor. Body armor will fail when a bullet is traveling faster kind of than the rating of the plate. So if you ever are going to defeat body armor, yes, mass comes into play a little bit, but primarily it is speed, and a little bit, depending on the armor, is shape of the projectile as well. So all that goes into some interesting stuff when you actually put it to the test, and we're gonna put it to the test right here. So we'll be shooting 9, we'll be doing 115 grain, 124 grain, and 147 grain, FMJ, standard range stuff. Then I'll be shooting 147 grain Federal HST, I'll be shooting 135 grain critical duty. We will step it up to 10 millimeter as well, so we got a Glock 20 here, it's gonna be shooting 10 millimeter at it. And then we're gonna step it up big time to the 50 AE. So we have some Hornady. This is 300 grain XTP going at 1475 FPS. So this is actually a little bit more powerful than what the plate's rated at. The plate's rated at 44 mag, but I think it's gonna stop that. And then for my own curiosity, I have some 300 grain, or not 300 grain, 300 Blackout Subsonic. So I think we got a 220 grain and like a 208 grain maybe. So I'll be shooting some of that out of this gun. This is a brand new gun from Radical Firearms they sent me. So 8.5 inch 300 Blackout test. And that's just from my own curiosity really. Subsonic 300 Blackout's not going very fast. So I was always just kind of curious if the pistol rated plate panel would stop a slow moving 300 Blackout. So we're gonna be testing that at the end too. And yeah. All right, so I just got this target system too. This is a Raven from Sheepdog Targets. It has a plate there that you can put in. It also has just a 1x2 stand for paper that you can put in. And it also has a rubber dummy target. And I figured this would be the best media to put this on. So that way we don't have steel plate behind it, so we can it'll mimic what a human is best for the most part. So I may cinch that up on there a little bit. All right, so this is the bag. It's a Vertex Commuter Sling. Sorry that I'm shooting up this brand new bag. It hurts me as much as it does you. So what we got in here is just the panel. Premier, this is Cordura Wrap 3A panel. Nothing else in the bag. But I don't know. I know you guys won't think I'm lying to you, but we're not putting anything else in here. So just bag, panel. Like normally you may have a laptop in here, some books or something, so it'd be even like a little bit more bulletproof. But I'm not gonna test that out because I don't know what you're gonna carry in your backpack. So we're just doing it as minimal as possible with the panel and the backpack. Yeah, all right. This is 115 grain, just kind of full metal jacket range ammo out of the CZP-10C. I'm shooting 6 rounds. I'll take it away. All right, so let's get in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nothing on the back. So let's go ahead and mark this. I want to try and kind of keep track a little bit. So we got 9, 9, 9. All right, let's move it on up. All right, so next up we're gonna do, this is 147 grain HST. I'm gonna be fancy and load this into the Agent 2. This is 9mm HST. This is my personal carry ammo. All right, so we're doing all this, it's super windy out, so I don't know if you can hear me. We're doing all this from about 7 yards, even though this testing is really like 15 yards. So adding a little bit more pressure to the plate, I guess, and just making sure I can put all my shots where I need to. All right, let's look at those ones. Looks like we hit here and here. So did we go through? Nope. Still good. So that's 8 rounds and 9mm now we got into this panel. Next we'll shoot some critical duty 135 grain. This stuff is supposed to be pretty good at penetrating like barriers. So we'll see if it makes any difference on this panel. .135 grain Hornady critical duty. All right, check this out. Looks like Ooh, missed it over here actually. Missed the panel altogether. So this one is duty. So we got the one in there, hit right next to the 147 grain if you can see it. Where you'll find failure in armor isn't when it's spread out like this, it's when there's multiples that are hitting the same place. So if we are gonna find a failure point, it's gonna be here, something like this where multiple bullets are hitting in the same place. But we got two here, nothing went through. This one went out the edge here, so that, I'm not gonna count it really, because it's like, this is the plate is actually ending here. So I went through the cordura, but it didn't go through the plate. So it's just kind of like, you can actually see the edge of the plate. The panel here isn't even touched, so the bullet just squeezed through the edge here. All right, now we got the 10 millimeter out of the Glock 20. All right, so let's see here. So I learned my lesson to try not to shoot the side, so I'm kind of keeping them all in the middle. Okay, so we got this. Oh, it looks like right here and right here. So this is 10 millimeter. Let's see if we got any penetration. No, nothing back here. Looks like it ripped the stitching a little bit just from the deformation back here, but I guess I shouldn't talk with the Sharpie in my mouth. Okay, so still no penetration with the 10 mil. All right, so here is the 50 AE Desert Eagle. I just got this gun, so I haven't even shot it yet. So these are actually my first shots through this gun. I've shot Deagles in the past before, but not this one specifically. All right. All right, so let's check that out. I think I was trying to shoot in areas where the panel wasn't, and looks like I missed it maybe out here.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, see, is the side again. So let's see here. What we got is 50 right here, no penetration, and then unfortunately I did the 50 through the side, but the 50 on the side had enough force to kind of hit it on the edge, I think, and pull it through. So this is the 50. Let me mark it, and let me shoot a couple more just to make sure. So what we found here is that this was on the edge with the 9, no penetration. This was too close to the edge with a 9, and this just went through the cordura. And this was somewhat close to the edge with the 50, and it pulled, you can tell there's no material over here because it just pulled that material through the back. So 9 millimeter near the edge is good, 9 millimeter off the panel obviously is bad, and 50 towards the edge looks like it's gonna pull through. So I'm gonna hit it with the 50 a couple more times, and I'm trying to spread these out so we can see them, but it's hard to know where the panel is through the pack, so I'll just try and hit this area. All right, so we'll pump a couple more 50s in. I'll just shoot them center. I didn't want to shoot them center because if the 50 hits an area where another bullet hit already, it's not completely fair. So we'll see where it hits. Maybe I'll put 3 on. All right, so let's see. That was 3 more 50s. I don't know if we got any penetration. We'll see though. We did. Looks like I hit it like almost in the same place as the previous 50, and that actually did penetrate it. We got another 50 here. No penetration there. But man, if you feel the plate, it was pretty much undeformed from everything else. But the 50 really deformed this stuff inside. And just so you guys know, this isn't rated for 50, it's rated for up to 44 mag. So this, I'm shooting it with something that's past the rating of the plate, so the panel. So the panel's not failing, I'm just shooting it with something beyond what it's rated for. So I just want to make that clear. So stopped the 250s when they were fresh. That was that, and then this before it made the hole. And then I hit another 50 basically on top of the previous 50. So this is the new 50, that was the previous 50, and the new 50 actually did punch through here. Looks like it's actually just barely punched through. So you can see, this is the 50 bullet right here. And actually, let me go ahead and see if I can dig it out. So this is it.
Just a flesh wound.
Yeah, just a flesh wound. Might break a rib. So the other 50 that went through the side, kind of like caught the edge of it, it went in here, but it didn't exit either. So that 50 is stuck inside here. So this, you know, obviously didn't stop it, but it slowed it down enough to where it didn't even penetrate the... Alright, so this is brand new 8.5 inch 300 Blackout from Radical Arms. They put my logo in here, look at that. Cool, huh? It's got the SBM3, I think, this brace that can do that. Anyway, here we go. I'm gonna try and keep them low, but we'll see. This thing isn't really sighted in yet. Alright, so those were the two 20 grain Remingtons. Okay, so this is 300 Blackout. It's a rifle round that it's not really rated for. We got here and here. This one didn't penetrate, and this one I don't think penetrated. It's like, I don't see anything. I mean, it definitely didn't stop it completely, but it didn't, like the bullet didn't go through. So we got like a little punch. This one completely stopped. So let's try the 208 grain AMAX. This is 220. I don't really remember where those ones hit, so I'll try to aim maybe a little above them. Yeah, so we got here and here, and it's the same deal where we're not getting penetration, like the bullet hasn't left, but it is kind of punching little holes. So this is, let's take this off. Well, yeah, let's take it off real quick and evaluate. Okay, I was wrong earlier about, so this one 300 Blackout, the first one I shot didn't penetrate. The next three looks like they did, because I have three little holes here, and then hard to tell, but
it's pretty dark. I can't see that.
You can't really see, I think, but there's one here and one here. So yeah, the 300 Blackout Subsonic did penetrate. I was always curious because it's going slow, but it's pointy and has a lot of weight behind it. And I didn't really find any answers out there if Subsonic 300 Blackout would penetrate 3A, and results are in, it kinda does. Not every time, obviously, but sometimes it does. So yeah, what we got is, it stops the 50 until the 50 starts piling up on itself, and then the 50, when it's piled up on itself, ends up punching through eventually after 2 hits. So it'll stop the first hit on the 50. This 50 on the edge, kind of like, it did hit the plate, but it kind of just pulled the plate, the panel plate, whatever, but it kind of just pulled it out. You can tell it's all pulled out under here. And Phillips hates how I say pulled out. Pulled. It pulled out. So what we got basically is all the 9s, no problem. Like a lot of the 9s hardly did anything at all. Like basically no panel deformation or anything. 50s put it to some work. We got a lot of deformation from the 50s. The 10 millimeters didn't really do anything. So 10 mil, which is a pretty powerful round, basically nothing. And then the 300 Blackout, well, I only shot 4, so it's not a very good test, but we got 25% stoppage, and the other 75% did penetrate all the way through. Now I'm just gonna mag dump some 9 on this and see what happens. So I'm gonna mark what we have here right now. All right, so what we're gonna do now is try to basically act like we're living in Chicago, and we're gonna do a drive-by and see how much this can handle. A new plate that wasn't shot up by 300 Blackout and 50 and 10 mil and stuff obviously would last a little longer than this one will, but I'm curious, so we might as well shoot it up and see what it's got. So Philip and I may load up some mags and go to town. All right, so Philip is gonna be shooting the Vector 9 millimeter. Do it? Do it? Chambered?
Yeah.
All right, and I'm just gonna be shooting the P10C 9 millimeter. Here we go. Light it up. See what we got. So here it all is here. So a lot of them pretty close together, taking quite a few hits, and yeah, we got some penetration here from them. So we shot, how many did you shoot?
50.
Yeah, I think I had maybe like 14. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
That's kind of where I was aiming.
Yeah, so it looks like we got about 7 new penetrations from about 30 rounds. So yeah, so you see like all of it was pretty much concentrated here. So when bullets are hitting literally on top of each other, they penetrate through. Let's check out the bag here. Yeah. So there we go. So what you got is basically what I expected from a pistol rated plate. It's rated for pistol. It's not rated for 300 Blackout, but I kind of was curious and thought maybe it would stop 300 Blackout, and it kind of does. It's not rated for 50, but it stops 50 unless they're on top of each other, stops 9. Everything about 9, stops 10, no problem. But once you start stacking bullets on top of each other, then we start getting a little bit of penetration. And I don't have, like, I should have, you know, put ballistic gelatin or something behind it to see how much, and many of these actually penetrated like through and through with force. But all we know is they penetrated through this and through the back of the bag. All right, back here, those were interesting results for me. So I knew pretty much, like I mentioned earlier, that the panel would stop 9mm, 10mm, all that stuff. It's rated for that. I had no doubt that it would pass that test, and it did in flying colors. Where I was concerned or curious about was, would it stop something beyond that rating? So 50 AE is a more powerful round than 44 Magnum, which is the top end of what it's rated at. And results were kind of interesting. If it was a completely fresh panel and you were taking one round of 50, I would be pretty confident it would stop it. I'm not going to stand in front of it and get shot by any means with that or any of the rounds. Even the 9mm, I wouldn't stand in front of it. But It probably would stop a 50 on a fresh plate. So if somebody wanted to just pop one round of 50 in your back while you're wearing your commuter sling running away from them, you'd probably survive even a 50. Now, people aren't going to be carrying this around. Here's a Desert Eagle. Here's a Glock 19 for size comparison. So it's not a practical gun. You have a Smith & Wesson 500 as well. Those are even bigger. So all these big rated handguns, you're not really going to encounter them and get killed in the streets by those. So all of the practical rounds, it's going to stop. The other thing that I was very curious about, and it's not rated for it, and I honestly didn't think it was going to stop it, but I was crossing my fingers. I was really hoping it was going to stop it, was the 300 Blackout Subsonic. So it's a slow moving round. It's a subsonic round. And it's pretty heavy, but the bullet shape obviously is pointy. And I think that plays a part in penetrating these panels, I guess. So there's a lot of weight. The projectile is kind of skinny and pointy, moving at a decent rate of speed was enough to defeat this body armor. So it stopped all of the stuff that it's supposed to stop, both FMGA and hollow point, so that's good to know. Where we also found failure was when bullets started hitting on top of each other. So what this is inside, and actually let's cut it up. So here it is. Here's the backpack that I shot up, the Vertex Commuter Sling. You can see there's a couple of the holes in the back where it penetrated through. A nice big one here where the 50 actually got through. So actually it kind of feels like it might still be in there. Anyway, let me get the panel out of here. And here it is again for you. So this thing got lit up, right? And we got some failure points in the back. We have a few through. So we got the 300 Blackout, the 50, and a couple 9. So the thing is, when you start putting bullets on top of each other, you can see there's a large percentage of the rounds are right in this area. Some of them are basically on top of each other, 2 bullets going through basically the same hole. That's where you're gonna find failure in body armor. So let's open this up here. Here is the trusty Yojimbo 2. So as I was telling you earlier, we have the Cordura outside, and then we have the kind of standard. This is kind of what you'll find on most body armor panels, this kind of thinner layer around it, and then we get to the stuff that actually stops the bullets. So this is pretty cool. Right away we have some bullets here on the surface. Nice and smushed. So we got a bunch of smushed bullets. So I'll roll in a clip here of all of these smushed bullets. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed. There was some more bullets that were in the just so tangled up in the weave that I didn't get them out. So this isn't even all of them. This is definitely most of them. But this is most of the bullets that were stopped by this one panel. And some of these you can tell like hit directly onto other bullets. There was one that was like cut in half. Yeah, this one right here. So you can see obviously that we had bullets on top of bullets, and that's where we kind of found the failure points. But at the time I was shooting this, I was kind of bummed. I mean, it was stupid, but I was bummed that it didn't stop like all of the 50, and I was bummed that it didn't stop the 300 Blackout. So I had unrealistically high expectations, I guess, for the panel. But now that I have all of this in front of me, I'm impressed. This is a 50 right here, completely stuffed. And then I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but most of the 300 Blackout did penetrate, but this is one that actually didn't. So this is a 300 Blackout Subsonic. I believe this is a 220 grain, and this was stopped by the panel. So just like with the 50, some of it penetrated, some of it didn't. This is one of the ones that obviously didn't penetrate, just like this is one of the 50s, and this is one of the 50s, and this is one of the 50s that didn't penetrate. This is a 10 millimeter here, and then tons of 9. some hollow points, and some FMJs. So we have a few layers, more than a few. We have, I don't know, feels like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, six or seven layers of this weave. So we'll take this apart. So this is one layer of the system. What you can kind of see here probably is where it is where it's normal and new. This didn't take any hits, and this is where all the action is down here. And it's the weave kind of starts coming apart. When the weave starts coming apart like this, that's where the bullet's going to be able to find a way through. So if your bullets are spread out, so if I methodically hit shot, 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 you get the point. If they're evenly spread out, say like probably 2 inches apart, this would stop them all day long until you started shooting them closer than that. Once the bullets start landing on top of each other, especially if you got a bunch of them in one area, it weakens the threads, it weakens the strands, and eventually you'll find failure, which we did. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. This was actually the first, I'm doing it right here. This is the first time I've ever taken body armor apart. I didn't even know it was layered like this. You can tell I didn't really do my homework watching other videos or anything, but that is all interesting. They did assure me that it's completely safe for me to cut open and do this, so that's why I did it. But yeah, it was really interesting and kind of a lot of fun. I'm interested in ballistics. You know, I've done a lot of research in kind of the rounds that I trust my life with. Also very concerned with home defense, drywall penetration, vehicle penetration, that kind of stuff. So this being the first time I've ever shot, done my own test on body armor anyway. I think I've shot it a couple times in the past for other people that were messing around. But this was the first time I did it. So I did some things that I personally was curious about. Hopefully maybe you were curious about them too. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, comment down below. If you have questions, I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge. I can reach out to my contacts. I have a few contacts with different body armor companies that are very helpful and informative. For me, again, Premiere, thanks for sending this out. Thanks for letting me shoot the panel up. Vertex as well. Thank you for letting me destroy a bag. Sorry, I know that it was painful for me to do it as well. Again, huge thanks to those guys. Premiere, Made in America, awesome company. Again, LLOD will save you 10% off everything over there, as well as 25% off of anything at vertex.com. I have various coupon codes with different companies. I always put them down below in the video description. I gave away a commuter and a panel last month to my patrons. So if you're into giveaways and stuff like that, I do a giveaway every month over on patreon.com/LLOD. If you go and sign up for the 556 level, you get automatically entered to a monthly giveaway with cool stuff. Like last month was pretty cool, but every month is pretty cool. Okay, guys, that's about it. I took a nap earlier and I just have not quite woken up from it. So that's why I've been kind of out of it in this video, I guess. Thanks for sticking around. Hit that thumbs up button. Always appreciate you taking the 2 seconds to hit that. Get subscribed to the channel if you're not already. And then quick update, I guess, channel update for you guys that are interested. I haven't been putting out many shooting videos. It's been hot probably everywhere. Obviously, there's kind of a heat wave going around in the U.S. Colorado is not unaffected by that either. Even though I'm up in the mountains, it still does get pretty hot. Unfortunately, what comes along with that are pretty strict fire bans. So in some of the places I like to go shoot, there's a stage 1, I believe, fire ban, which actually prohibits shooting, all shooting, not just like tracers, just all shooting. So I haven't been shooting as much because it's literally banned in some of the spots that I go shooting. And it's just been hot. So I have a lot of gun reviews lined up coming down the road. So don't worry, still planning on doing tons of gun stuff, obviously. But there's been kind of a lull more than usual. All right, guys. Everything's good with me. I do have some announcements coming up. If you've watched it this far, within the next week, look for some announcements. Some of those, hint, hint, going to be website, Probably going to be launching it within the next week. I'm going to be rolling out my hats, my multicam black hats. They're at the embroiderer right now. I believe they're getting done tomorrow. Some new colors with holsters, multicam black. So that's pretty sick. So a lot of cool stuff coming up. If you're interested, I feel like I shouldn't even say this, but I do give first access to this kind of stuff to patrons. So I've never sold merch really in the past. I'm going to start selling it once I have my site up, for starters being hats. They are a limited run. I only have 100 of each size. So I'm going to be offering those to patrons first. I don't think I have enough patrons for those to sell out. But if you're a patron and you want it, you're definitely going to be able to get it. For all the rest of you guys, I would suggest hitting that notification icon for when I launch that video, because when I launch that video is when I'm going to launch those hats as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Anyways, guys, I appreciate all the support. Everything's great. Oh, I hit 100K. Sorry, this video is getting pretty long. I hit 100K, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So that's kind of a big milestone, an exciting milestone for me. And I've just been too busy to like plan a party or anything. So it'll be late. I haven't put any thought into it, but yeah, stay tuned to the channel and I'll keep you updated. All right, guys, take care.